So she stumbles through the field. She can't see, though she tries. Should've worn her pennant. Now she stumbles. Now she cries. Her skin's red and it burns, and the fields go on for miles. Life sucks you dry. She wonders why. Wonders why.
hosting some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
I don't know. I could ask you that question. I don't know of it, but I think here's the man right here.
Mr. President, I know you've urged people to move on, but I'm curious, why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story and so upset about how it's been handled? Why do you think that is?
So the different things, the Steele dossier, which was all fake, all that information was fake. But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring. And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible information, let them give it. Anything that's credible, I would say, let them have it.
Jeffrey Epstein was your neighbour. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about him. East 71st Street. He was your neighbour for 10 years. How well did you know him?
All right, so we are in number 11, and he lives in number 9.
Right.
So we renovate, we buy our house, and our house is pigeons and mice.
Right.
Okay, it was derelict.
Right.
So we rebuild our house. We move in 2005. Okay. Jeffrey Epstein is arrested in like 08, I think, or something like that.
Right.
So knock on the door. His assistant on like a Saturday says, Mr. Epstein, your neighbor would like to invite you over for coffee. So my wife and I go next door. We walk 7 steps,
yes,
right, to the next house for coffee. We share a wall.
Right.
So it's in New York City. So he invites us in. We have coffee in this, and he says, "Do you want a tour?" He said, "Great,
interesting."
He's got a really big house.
Every room you went into?
He's got. Well, I'll tell you. So his house is like super big, really wide, and so he gives me a tour in the living room, big living room, and then across from it is double doors. I assume it's the dining room.
Yeah.
And he opens the door, and there's a massage table in the middle of the room.
Ooh.
And candles all around and stuff. So I ask very insightful, cutting questions. I say to him, massage table in the middle of your house? How often you have a massage? And he says, every day. And then he gets weirdly close to me.
Ooh.
And he says, and the right kind of massage.
Ooh.
Now my wife is standing here. So she looks at me and I look at her and we say, I'm sorry, we have to go. And we left. And in the 6 or 8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house, my wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I was never in the room with him socially. for business or for even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross. And so I look back at it as a gift.
Yes.
He gave me a gift
Yes.
of avoid. And
Yeah.
so, yeah,
So
that's
he
my
was-
story. A one and absolutely done.
Why did the Epstein files show you coordinating a meeting and planning a visit with Jeffrey Epstein on his private island in December 2012?
Thank you for the question. I'm glad to be here to make it clear that I met Jeffrey Epstein when I moved to a house next door to him in New York, right? And I met him then. Over the next 14 years, I met him 2 other times that I can recall, 2 times. And that is none for 6 years. So 6 years later, I met him. And then a year and a half after that, I met him and never again. Probably the total, and you've seen all of these documents, of these millions and millions of documents, there may be 10 emails connecting me with him, probably about 10 emails connecting me with him over a 14-year period. I did not have any relationship with him. I barely had anything to do with that person, okay?
Secretary Lutnick, I think you understand the root of concern here. It's the way you described very emphatically your first encounter with him in his apartment, said you were disgusted, would never have any contact with him again. Did you in fact make the visit to Jeffrey Epstein's private island?
I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation. My wife was with me, as were my 4 children and nannies. I had another couple they were there as well with their children, and we had lunch on the island. That is true, for an hour, and we left with all of my children, with my nannies and my wife, all together. We were on family vacation. We were not apart. To suggest there was anything untoward about that in 2012, I don't recall why we did it, but
Mr. Secretary, again, as I said, there's not an indication that you yourself engaged in any wrongdoing with Jeffrey Epstein. It's the fact that you believe that you misled the country and the Congress based on your earlier statements, suggesting that you cut off all contact when in fact you had not. When you visited the private island, did you see anything inappropriate during that visit?
the only thing I saw with my wife and my children and the other couple and their children was staff who worked for Mr. Epstein on that island.
And you realize that, this visit took place after he'd been convicted, right? I mean, you made a very big point of saying that you sensed that this was a bad person in 2005. And then, of course, in 2008, he was convicted of soliciting prostitution of a minor. And yet you went and had this trip and other interactions. Did you have a dinner in Epstein's New York City home in 2011?
No.
So the information that suggests that there was a dinner with Woody Allen and Woody Allen's spouse at the Epstein residence, that's there's nothing to that. Is that right?
I actually don't know what you're referring to. There was, look, I looked through the millions of documents for my name, just like everybody else. And what I found was there was a document that says that I had a meeting with him on in May, I think, for an hour at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Not dinner or otherwise, for an hour at 5 o'clock.
All right. There's also a reference to the fact that Epstein had expressed an interest in meeting your nanny. Do you know whether Jeffrey Epstein ever met with your nanny?
No, I saw that. I had no idea what that was about. It had nothing to do with me.
No
as far as
interaction
I
at
know.
all between them.
No. as far as I know. No.
Would you, Mr. Secretary, be willing to ensure that the file is complete to share with this committee and the Congress your own records, any records you have that relate to Jeffrey Epstein?
I will surely talk about that. I hadn't thought about that. I have nothing to hide. Absolutely nothing.
Right. So, I mean, that's an incredible story that you could pick up that he was a pervert.
It's gross. The guy's gross. Right with my wife. And like, he's gross. The guy's gross. This was not, the deep nuance of Howard Lutnick. This guy's gross.
Right. So how come Bill Gates and all these other people could hang around him and not see what you saw? Or did they see it and ignore it? Or
No, they participated.
right.
That's what his MO was, get a massage. And what happened in that massage room, I assume, was on video. This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever. Blackmailed people. That's how he had money.
So what happened to those videos? Why is there now such a dearth of information when, Donald Trump's people are running the FBI and the DOJ?
I assume way back when, they traded those videos in exchange for him getting that 18-month sentence, which allowed him to have visits and be out of jail. I mean, he's a serial sex offender. How could he get 18 months and be able to go to his office during the day and have visitors and stuff? It must have been a trade. So my assumption, I have no knowledge, but my assumption is there was a trade for the videos because there were people on those videos.
And have you talked to Donald Trump about this and shared your theory?
No, I mean, he knows the story.
Right.
But my story that, I was one and done with the guy. He knows that story, but... That's it.
He would have been interested in that story.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just a story. It's just a one and done. That guy. Ugh.
And did Trump feel the same way about him?
I don't speak to him about these kind of... These are just distractions.
Right.
The thing about the president is I'm doing the most important thing that I see. And then right after we do that, he does 10 other things that are as, if not more important, that are not my thing.
Right.
And you're like, wow. And he is great at it. And sometimes he lets me stay. So he lets me stay for the Joint Chiefs of Staff come in. Right. I'm like, this is like the coolest thing ever.
You sit here and you attack the president, and I am not going to have it. I'm not going to put up with it. All they want to do, all the American people need to know this. They are talking about Epstein today. This has been around since the Obama administration. This administration released over 3 million pages of documents, over 3 million. And Donald Trump signed that law to release all of those documents. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history. And none of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan, committee will be in order.
Secretary Lutnick today was testifying on the Hill. He said that he had visited Epstein's Island in 2012 with his wife and children, and that's after he said that he had cut ties with Epstein. And Justice Department documents show that he was in contact with Epstein through 2018 over messages. So does the White House stand behind Secretary Lutnick right now, or given what he has said today, has there been any shift in how the White House is viewing Secretary Lutnick's performance?
No, Secretary Lutnick remains a very important member of President Trump's team, and the president fully supports the secretary.
Welcome to Through Glass Darkly Radio. You're listening to us on United Public Radio. The intro song was Mark of the Doomslayer by Karl Casey at White Bat Audio. Wow. Just wow. The system is falling apart literally in front of us. And I think it's a fait accompli. We are going to war with Iran on Monday or Tuesday of next week, maybe even tomorrow, because a lot of this stuff may be seeded as disinformation, not for our benefit, but for Iran's detriment. So I have a lot of thoughts on this because I saw it coming 20 years ago. And I'm not even sure where to start right now because everything is so... Can everybody hear that? Hold on. I just had Twitter just deciding to play something in the background. Hopefully none of you heard that, but it was rather annoying. All right, so I'm going to go through some comment. Oh, you heard the noise? All right, well, hopefully you didn't hear that random thing that kept playing. Anyway, I'm not even sure where to start tonight because, just buzzing? That's not, I'm not too worried about that. I mean, so that's why I have aliens, Epstein, and what's the other thing? Oh, Iran. What? So definitely going to war for Iran. So let's go through some of the data points for that one because there are plenty. So let's start with the first one. Just bear with me. I gotta. Oh, man. I got stuff all over the place right now, and I'm like an old man here trying to figure it out. No, I don't like that one either. And not that one either. There we go. All right. And I'm going to share my screen. Boom. Turn on the sound. And I think this came out today. And this is from the Julian Dory show from our friend, although he doesn't know me, John Kiriakou. So let's check this out.
I have a friend, former CIA officer, who was at the White House this morning talking to his friends. And he says that a decision has been made to attack Iran on Monday or Tuesday. The president yesterday gave the Iranians 10 days to accept our proposals for an end to their ballistic missile program, an end to their uranium enrichment program, an end to supporting groups in the Middle East like Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis. But he's done this before. Well, he'll give you 10 days, he'll give you 2 weeks, and then he'll just attack 2 days into it. He thinks that keeps people off balance. And so he said that there are battle lines, that the anti-war forces are J.D. Vance and Tulsi Gabbard. He said that that's it. He said the pro-war people are led by Marco Rubio and include Pete Hegseth and now the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And I stopped him on that point this morning. And I said, wait a minute. I said, during the Iraq War, at the start of the Iraq War, the most stridently anti-war component was the Joint Chiefs of Staff. They were always the last ones that wanted to attack because they know what war is. And he said, but you forget, Trump has replaced all of the Joint Chiefs this year, in the past 12 months, which I had forgotten. Any of these 4-star generals who, had worked their way up through the ranks, but had served under Biden, he fired all of them. All of them. And he promoted people that he knew would be politically loyal.
Do you think this is to distract from the current scandal?
Probably in part, yeah.
How about them saying they're going to release the UFO files last night, which I've wanted released forever. But
I know, right? Timing. I mean, we've been talking about this for years.
The timing.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a clear wag the dog scenario here. Oh, I screwed up there too. I just deleted everything that I kind of needed. Just bear with me. There is a way for me to unfuck myself here. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. Got it. Unreal. Okay. All right. So you heard that, folks. Monday or Tuesday. So, oh boy, is my microphone effed up? Yes, it is. All right, hopefully that's better. Unfucking real. All right, well, hopefully I didn't talk too much with the fucked up microphone. All right, so you heard it. We're going to war with Iran. Not sure why. Because according to our fearless chicken hawk leader with bone spurs, who never served, and again, I voted for the guy, but he's a fucking coward. Trump is a coward. He can't even get rid of his head Mossad handler, Lucky Lucknick. Okay? So, I don't know about you, but I'm not going to vote in the next election, and you shouldn't either, because the whole system's a sham. Heads you win, or sorry, heads they win, tails you lose. That's our system. That's what it is. Right? Vote harder, people. Vote. You're not going to vote harder. You can vote as hard as you want. You can vote as many times as you want, even though you shouldn't. But just flip the machines and play with the system. They can vote. I know that they have the capability to vote on your behalf. And the reason I know is I interviewed somebody who used to work for MI6. And the reason I know that's a real capability is when I was analyzing my engagement graph, and when this person, Christopher Robinson is his name, by the way, casually mentioned that in the 70s, the British government could vote on someone's behalf. I didn't even notice it in the interview, but when I looked at my retention graph, the retention graph went from 30% to 98% spike at that precise moment and then kept going. Why? Because there's keywords that the NSA has that they monitor. And that is one of them. And why is that one of them? Because nothing in this system is real. It's all fake. It's all fake. It's kayfabe. Trump won because they knew if he didn't win, there would have been problems. I'll just say I'm not going to say anything more provocative than that. Because the other side was even worse. So now, as a voter, I have two choices. I have the party of white genocide or the party of pedophile protectors. I shouldn't have said that word. I got to be careful saying that word. Who do I pick? There is no choice in this system. It's pre-baked, it's prefabricated, it's all fake. There's a supranational system per Tucker that controls everything behind the scenes. That's how it works. They're all in cahoots. We need to depopulate. Okay, well, let's have this little war over in Ukraine. We can depopulate Ukraine, and that'll work there. And, the U.S. is kind of feisty, and this nation-state concept, we're going to have the technology to have a technocracy. So this whole nation-state thing ain't going to work out in the future. We're going to be able to, because we're going to be able to control people on a much finer scale level at the individual scale with blockchain and cryptocurrency. So why do we need nation states? Well, how do we get rid of nation states? Well, here's the plan. Let's open up the borders wide open, dilute the patriotism by bringing people who don't really give a shit about the United States. And then we can cause a bunch of civil unrest. And because we've compromised the entire elite class, we'll just expose that. And then that'll just stir the peasants up. And they'll all but demand falling right into the hands of AI. AI is going to be the new god. And you know what? Right on schedule, this comes out. Just give me a second. I'm just going to find the window. I'm like old man slow today, so just forgive me. Klaus Schwab, you're up. So I'm going to read this in the voice of Klaus Schwab. So just in time, faith in institutions is at an all-time low and continues to go lower. We're demanding justice. We're not getting justice. The system is laid bare as clearly, as clearly baked, as clearly rigged. And just in time, here comes our technocratic savior, Klaus Schwab. We are moving with exponential speed into the intelligent age. The intelligent age is not just characterized by artificial intelligence. It will overturn the logic of the industrial world. Eins, intelligence replaces energy as the primary source of power. The industrial age was built on coal, oil, and electricity. The intelligent age is built on artificial intelligence and data. Power no longer belongs to those who control resources, but to those who control the algorithms. Zwei, the end of standardization. Industrial society worshipped uniformly. Assembly lines shaped economics and economies and minds. The intelligent age destroys sameness. Personalization at scale becomes the norm. Mass production gives way to mass individuality. Drei, the collapse of non-linear thinking. Industrial logic was linear. Extract, produce, distribute. The intelligent age is non-linear, adaptive, self-learning. Static systems will fail. Only intelligent ecosystems will survive. Fear, the redefinition of work. Machines once replaced muscles. Now they challenge cognition. Entire professions will disappear. New ones will emerge overnight. Work will not be stable. It will be continuously reinvented. Fifth, trust becomes the ultimate currency. In the industrial age, capital was scarce. In the intelligent age, intelligence scales infinitely. But trust does not. Societies that lose trust will lose stability. What are we losing right now, folks? Whoa, if you think this is a coincidence that this thing it just came out, I got a bridge I want to say you. Believe me. Sex! Sovereignty is transformed. Industrial power strengthens nation states. Intelligent systems ignore borders. Cybersecurity, AI, quantum networks operate globally. Governance must evolve or become irrelevant. You notice that? Governance must evolve or become irrelevant. Sieben! Hierarchies will be challenged. Industrial institutions, centralized authority. The intelligent age distributes influence through platforms and networks. Leadership without legitimacy will collapse. Where does leadership appear to be without legitimacy, folks? Let's look at the UK. UK's jailing people for social media violations, and they're letting their meanwhile, there's Muslims that are raping their children. And they're just fine. Everything's fine. The United States, we have a literal satanic pedophiles PDF files. Oh my God, this thing is so getting banned. Ring in the United States, and the guy who was like living next door to the guy who never who was never late to work for 5 years, and suddenly on 9/11 doesn't show up. And suddenly, he's lying to your faces like with such grandiosity that it's just the theater of the absurd. And does our leadership have legitimacy anymore? Right? You see, this is all planned at levels, at echelons above reality, quite literally, maybe. Okay. All right, let's keep going. Education becomes permanent infrastructure. The industrial model educated once for a lifetime of work. The intelligent age requires lifelong reskilling. Learning becomes the backbone of economic survival. 9. GDP is no longer enough. Industrial success was measured in output. The intelligent age will measure resilience, adaptability, sustainability, and collective intelligence. Growth without systemic intelligence becomes fragility. Sane! The ultimate shift from external expansion to inner evolution. The industrial age expanded outward territory, factories, markets. The intelligent age forces inward evolution, ethical judgment, responsibility, cognitive maturity. Technology advances faster than moral frameworks. This gap defines our era. All right, let's hear from Dr. Evil himself. We are a supranational infrastructure government, and we are here to help. Oh my God. We are so screwed, people. We are so screwed. So screwed. So there's that. There's that going on right now. Okay? So meanwhile, as our institutions are literally dissolving before our eyes. Okay? All right, let's see what else we have. I'm a little excited, so obviously I'm not God, I don't even know where to begin. Of course, everything that I had teed up in the Justice Department files was. All right. Well, let's just go back and just review some more of the corruption that we're seeing that was never punished. Okay. So here we go again. Check out this email. These people don't even hide it. Okay. All right, so Masha Drakova writes, this is writing to Jeffrey Epstein. Katya has a law firm, corporate law. She also understands blockchain regulations and ecosystem well. You could do this in a Russian accent. You can tell because there's like no articles in it. Alicia is film director. She's working on human rights VR movie. Alexandra is an actress and art expert. Has business ideas. All of them are smart. High energy and great. Oh, that's a terrible Russian accent. I'm sorry. So this is what Brother Jeffrey writes. Your friend Eliza told me about the project she is doing, researching a really bad guy that gets children for, let's just say grape, sent to his island. She almost fainted when I told her that person is me. I mean, you can't make this shit up. Unreal. All right, let's see the next magical thing I'm going to get. Okay. And this is Jeffrey Epstein writing to Peter Thiel. As you probably know, I represent the Rothschilds. I was hoping to figure out a way for the bank that has $160 billion in management can do something in tech. Best client list in the world, prehistoric products. It can wait. Good luck in China. I'll be in Europe again, 20 to 28. Then island. So if you want to come around the world going west, come to the island. Or if you'd like to meet in Saudi at the end of the month, ? Okay? So he represents the Rothschilds. It's kind of, global banking family, had the British Empire over a barrel with the financing of the Suez Canal, all the usual stuff. Okay? All righty then. Let's move along to the next one. All right, we'll get to that a little bit later. Let me see if there's anything. And another interesting one. All right, I don't know. I want to be careful with this because I can't verify these statistics, but I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, and this could also be disinformation. I don't know. But given how scuzzy this particular individual is, I give it less than 50% chance of being not real. All right, so all Cantor Fitzgerald employees, odds of surviving 9/11, 31.5%. Cantor Fitzgerald employees who participated in the 1998 economic security war game with the U.S. Navy, 100%. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Cantor Fitzgerald workers who participated in this war game, former Navy 4-star Admiral William Bud Flanagan, Senior Managing Director. He, of course, survived 9/11 due to being late for work. And then, of course, Lucky Lucknick is back. This guy's so lucky. What a charmed life this man leads. CEO, survived 9/11 due to being late to work to take his son to kindergarten for the first time in like 5 years, but who minor detail. Kent Kurosin, Managing Director, survived 9/11 due to being late to work to vote in the New York primary election. Phil Ginsburg, Chief Economist, survived 9/11, reason unknown. Lisa Schwartzman, survived 9/11, reason unknown. See source document in the next post. Look, this is so on the nose. It's hard for me to believe this is real. So again, I want to maintain that critical thing, but really? They have the exercise thing and there's like the Twin Towers on it? The financial implications of national security threats, co-sponsored by United States Naval War College and Cantor Fitzgerald. And then according to this source, pages 35 to 36 of the U.S. Navy War Game Report list the attendees. Oh, look, Bud Flanagan, Phil Ginsburg, Kent Kurosin, Lucky Howard Lutnick. And then Lisa Schwartzman. And there's another correlation there, and I can let you all figure that out. I'm not going to touch it. So let's just remove that for now. So, yeah, the legitimacy of this government. Oh, and by the way, the tariffs that we all paid, like we paid like 96 to 98% of, because all the firms passed on those costs to us. Well, apparently they were unconstitutional. But don't worry, people. The companies are going to get that money back. Not you who foot the bill. The companies are going to get that back. That increases prices to fund them. So lots of justice here. Oh, and by the way, Trump has declared that he's going to raise tariffs 15%, despite the fact that it's unconstitutional. So we'll see how that goes. Well, it could go either way, okay? And then we get this announcement about aliens. If you believe that bullshit's going to come out, I got, again, another bridge to sell you. This one's even bigger. It's just anything that these people say is going to be a lie. Even if there's a nugget of truth, the totality of it's going to be a lie. So I can't tell if it's wag the dog or, to just prevent our whole, and this is not like people are kind of focused. There's some people who are still like living under a rug who think it's like, oh, Trump, guys, the Democrats sat on this for the last 4 years, and the Republicans, 4 administrations sat on this shit. This is 20 years in the making. This is not like, if you're still focused on left and right, I'm sorry, but you're retarded. You're retarded. So, this is not, look, I have my preferences, right? Because, one of those two parties wants to exterminate me and the other one just wants to use me as a fucking slave. But, it's not left or right. It's not even the system. There's a whole system above this that lies unseen, that controls and manipulates at levels of beyond reality. And we're just starting to see some of this stuff. So we're in a brave new world right now. Like voting and all that bullshit is, So now we're doing the Iran thing. Okay, well, at the very beginning of this, I said I saw this 20 years ago. Let me show you how concrete I saw this. Okay, I think some of you might know, but not all of you know. And it's a little spooky how things happen, because I predicted a number of things in this one thing. So with that as a prelude, this is still up on Harvard's website, okay? So 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, because I submitted this in April, it was published in April of 2006, okay? Plan B for Persia, responding to Iran's nuclear weapons program, absent diplomatic agreement. If you look closely, you can see my name, okay? And that is me. That's not some person with the exact same name. That is literally me. I wrote this, okay? So I'll just download it. Let me see how it looks for you. So I'll zoom in a little bit. Not only did I write this paper was all about eliminating Iran's nuclear weapons program, okay? That's what this whole thing was about. Plan B. Plan A was diplomacy. Okay. Notice the cover. You see my name. You see my advisor. This is 2006. I knew this guy was going places in 2006. In 2014, he became Obama's Secretary of Defense. Okay? This is how creepy this stuff is. All right? This guy here, Ambassador R. Nicholas Burns, he's currently the U.S. ambassador to China. Okay? Very strange, kind of precognitive. 3 years ago, or 5 years ago, I might say, I'm not sure if precognition is real. It is definitely real. We have precognitive dreams, and we also do things that are subconsciously precognitive. This was subconsciously precognitive. I knew this was going to happen. Okay, so what I did with this is I looked at two broad strategic outlooks. Okay? One was something I called strategic adjustment. Let me see if I can actually find it. So there's the coercive option. That's basically preventing the Iranians from getting a nuke. And then there's the second option, U.S. strategic adjustment, learning to live with a nuclear-armed Iran. Like, how would you engage in containment? Okay? And let's see, who else? And there should be a number of names that I spoke to. So here are some of the findings. Transition from Plan A to Plan B must be abrupt and unambiguous. The U.S. allies must clearly outline the timing and triggers of this transition so that it is clear to Iran that military action is imminent if Iran fails to comply with the demands of the international community. Check. Multilateral economic sanctions and military action are most effective coercive tools. So we've already employed the maximum level of unilateral economic and political sanctions. Okay? And there was little leverage left to exploit. And that's 20 years ago, people. However, the EU still consists of a significant portion of Iran's imports that can be used as leverage to pressure Iran. This time around, we're skipping this step. We're going straight to the bombing, which is, again, retarded, from a Massachusetts accent, retarded. Military action against Iran will have severe impact on the global economy. If we start bombing on Monday or Tuesday, as he's talking about, you're going to lose a ton of money. We ain't going to have no Dow 50,000. That thing's going to sink like a rock in, I don't know, I can't think of a good analogy. And the reason is this. Iran's immediate reaction to any bombing is going to be to mine the Strait of Hormuz. Okay? And I haven't looked at the most recent numbers, but a huge percentage of global oil passes through those straits. Even though we have our own domestic sources of oil, oil is a global product. It is priced at a global level. So what's going to happen is you're going to have a supply shock to oil. Oil prices are going to go through the roof. Oil is a key feedstock in everything that we do. It's basically roughly around a third of every dollar is tied to the price of oil because you have to move transportation around the world. So right now you think inflation's bad, but you're going to see kind of ramped up stagflation like you did in the late 70s, whereas the price of oil shoots through the roof, prices get pushed up everywhere, and then GDP collapses because people stop buying because they can't afford to buy. And people stop shipping or ship less because they can't afford to ship without losing their shirts because things are so, I mean, I can't comprehend how whoever the retard is at the Pentagon or whoever is in charge of this little operation is a moron. And look, I'm not just some guy on the internet. Like my mentor, the guy who trained me how to think about these things, became the U.S. Secretary of fucking Defense. And he wasn't like a bro like Hegseth, like a yes loyalist like Hegseth, or an affirmative action moron like the Austin, like the guy before him. This guy was a Rhodes Scholar. He had a PhD in physics from Oxford. His thesis was on electrochromodynamics or chromodynamics. And he basically proved that reality can run backwards from a subatomic particle level, that it can run forwards. The guy was responsible for dismantling all the Soviet loose nukes after the end of the Cold War as part of the Nunn-Lugar program. He was a serious fucking person. The people we have in charge are not serious fucking people. Okay? Like, I don't even know. I step back from a strategic level and I ask myself, what are the vital U.S. national interests that we would achieve by bombing Iran? Well, because of Trump, we're self-sufficient with our oil reserves, so we don't really need to do that. The mullahs have killed a bunch of people, so we're going to bomb them. But why would we bomb them if I thought Trump said that we destroyed their nuclear program? Having done this whole report, I know that we didn't destroy their nuclear program because we only attacked like a handful of targets and overnight. So when Trump said that we destroyed their nuclear program, he lied to our faces. Like, I'm certain of that because I know there are hundreds of targets that you have to go after. And here's where things get really, really crazy. So after I did this report back in April of 2006, Dr. Carter decided to have a session to discuss this very problem, leveraging this report and others. And he had me go down, like, come up with a list of people to invite to this offsite that we had in Washington, D.C. So we went down to Washington, D.C., met in the Willard Hotel, which is kind of outside the White House. And again, I'm like 29 years old, something like that, really, really young. And I'm just there as a fly on the wall. And we're talking about some of these options. And there's this guy, his name, and I remember him. I never remember his name, but now I do. This guy is a nuclear weapons inspector. His name was David Kay. He wasn't on the list of invitees, but he was there, which is kind of curious. And we were talking about various options for preventing Iran from getting a nuclear program. And there were kind of three options that I looked at, three realistic options. The first was a strategic, or was a surgical strike, right? Which you quickly rule out because Iran's nuclear program is so distributed throughout the country and buried so deeply that there's not a one and done. There's not a single target that you can take out that would stop and prevent its entire nuclear fuel cycle. You just can't do that. The second thing I looked at was something I called the Khuzestan Gambit. The Khuzestan Gambit is an area, Khuzestan is an area with kind of a large Arab population, because people who know anything about Iran, the Iranians are Persian, right? They're not, or at least many of them, like the majority of the population is Persian, not Arabic. But there's a lot of Arabs in this region that aren't big fans of the regime. And the region is about something like 9,600 square kilometers, okay? But it's still pretty massive. Like where I trained, like the state of Rhode Island, it's about 10 times the size of the state of Rhode Island, okay? Now, that area is kind of in southwestern Iran, and it has the majority of its oil reserves. So the Khuzestan Gambit would be a land invasion of the Khuzestan region, where the U.S. would seize the oil fields and then use it as leverage against the mullahs. Okay? Now, I also quickly ruled it out because it was so fucking dumb. Because what you would have is you would have a Hezbollah summer, right? You would have Iranian terrorism. Every place there are Americans, everywhere around the world. We're not talking about Arabs here. We're talking about serious warfighters in Iran. Like, these people are serious people, okay? A lot more serious than the dunderheads we currently have in power. All right? So the next thing that you have to worry about, so that was kind of obviously a no-brainer, right? Like the casualty rate on that in terms of doing it, you wouldn't do it, okay? So the most likely option was a comprehensive bombing campaign, kind of like Kosovo, except it would never stop. You would have to just go over and over and over and over and over and over again. Anytime Iran tried to reconstitute its nuclear program, which after you start bombing, any capable regime would start it immediately, okay? Just to prevent it from happening in the first place, much like North Korea did after Gaddafi gave up his chemical weapons, and then we obviously took him out because he couldn't defend himself, right? Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State set that precedent. these people, I don't they have no depth when it comes to national security policy. I don't get it. Anyway, so we started talking about a comprehensive bombing campaign. So when we start talking about it in the room, I'm not talking, I'm just listening, I'm observing. And there's people in the room, like Ash Carter himself, Secretary of Defense William Perry, retired, was there in the room. I think former Army Chief of Staff Shali Kashvili was on the phone listening in. And then, kind of the neocon Bill Kristol, who was very kind and nice to me. I don't agree with the guy, but if there's one thing I remember, he was very kind to me. He was one of the few people who came up and introduced himself. He was very kind to me. But regardless, and there were a lot of other Iran experts like Vali Nasser and a few other people. If you look them up, you can kind of figure it out. So anyway, this guy, David Kay, who is, again, a UN weapons inspector. We're talking about bombing Iran's facilities and how it would be done and why it would have to be done continuously. And out of the blue, he says, well, if we're going to bomb them, we should bomb them during the day. And anybody who has military, an ounce of military experience, kind of just looked at him like, are you out of your mind? We own the night. We attack during the night. We don't attack during the day. So Ash Carter, while being gracious, is a very smart man, as I established, said, more of a curious question, trying to hold back to are you an idiot? Basically said, just curious, why would you bomb during the day? Without missing a beat, David Kay said, to kill their scientists. And as you think about it, that kind of slows down this comprehensive bombing over and over and over again, because if you kill their scientists, the program becomes much harder to reconstitute. Sure enough, roughly 2 years later, maybe 2008, it could be anywhere from 2008 to 2012, I'd have to check the numbers, there were reports of men on motorcycles with sticky bombs that would just show up next to a civilian nuclear scientist, by the way, put the sticky bomb on their car and just drive away, and they would just kill Iranian scientists. So I got to see how some of this stuff works behind the scenes, where just someone floats an idea, and 2 years later, that thought becomes a thing. Okay? So I feel like this whole thing, you're going to see how this thing emerges over time. The other thing that I was blinded to at the time, the whole point of this policy was to prevent a nuclear proliferation spiral in the Middle East, right? You don't want people that close to each other, or nations that close to each other, that hate each other that much, on a hair trigger where once something's launched, it's almost instantaneous, like it's over, okay? So at the time, I wanted to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, because if Iran got a nuclear weapon, then Saudi would want a nuclear weapon. If Saudi got a nuclear weapon, then Turkey and Syria would want nuclear weapons, and Jordan would want, and you have a proliferation spiral. The one thing that I was so blind to, and that I'm only starting to see that nobody's talking about right now, if you truly wanted to prevent the proliferation of nuclear weapons in the region, there's only one place to start. Can you all guess what that is? Well, I'll tell you. Israel. If Israel were to dismantle its nuclear weapons, there would be no proliferation spiral problem. But we never talk about that. Why? Why don't we ever talk about that? Have you ever asked yourself that question? I was at Harvard, and I didn't even think to ask myself that question. And I was stupid for not asking myself that question. Instead, I'm picking on this other country that, look, they're not good guys. They're not our friends either. But we'll get to that a little bit later. But at the time, too, we also weren't energy dependent. We weren't energy independent, right? we still depended a great deal on making sure that that oil flowed. Okay? So this is another important point. I didn't have a mad dog strategy of regime change with regard to Iran. Because if your sole focus is non-proliferation, you have to focus solely on Iranian nuclear programs. And the reason is, when you make it about regime survival, you give people an incentive to survive and to burn the bridges behind them. I knew that when I was wet behind the ears 20 years ago. These clowns, that's their primary aim. And they think they're going to do it from the air. Haven't they learned anything? Were the Germans able to conquer Britain and force regime change during the Battle of Britain? By bombing Coventry? By bombing London? Did that make Churchill weak at the knees? Hell no. It made him want to fight. He'd fight on the beaches and fight everywhere. You think the Iranians are going to be any different? Again, this is moot now. We don't need to secure any energy. We do need to stock up on petroleum, strategic petroleum reserves, which, by the way, Biden kind of knocked down a significant amount. Hopefully, Trump is. I haven't looked at it recently, but is looking it up. Okay. Let me see if I can jump around a little bit, because I don't want, people obviously don't want to be reading this. All right, and this just looks at like Iranian foreign policy. It looks at coercive options. So I looked at Osirik, the Israeli bombing of Osirik in Iraq, because the Israelis took out the nuclear reactor in Iraq in the early 80s. I looked at Op Plan 5027 I think it's 5027, in North Korea, which is a precision strike to take out the Yongbyon reactor, which Ash Carter planned, by the way. Okay. Then I looked at the comprehensive bombing campaign in Kosovo. And then we also considered back in I can't remember if the 50s or 60s, of taking out China's program. So what we ended up doing was just strategically adjust. It was in the early 60s. Okay. But we decided that probably wasn't a good idea. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to get through this. I'm trying to make this entertaining. Please forgive me if this is getting really boring. So again, the other thing is we didn't want Israel involved in this thing, because it would have complicated the whole picture, right? Just like we did with Iraq. We didn't want them targeting the Scuds, because if they got involved, then you'd have a whole other barrel of worms with the Arab world and all that stuff. Okay. All right, and then these are just like sanctions and stuff like that. I recommend these back in 2006, and the Bush administration actually started implementing them. It's pretty freaky to watch that happen in real time. And then, of course, I looked at the financials, Yeah, so we're talking about Khuzestan, right? But they'd have to hold territory indefinitely against suicide bombers and all sorts of crazy things, okay? And this was at the time when we were kind of in the quagmire in Iraq at the time. So we looked at precision strikes, ruled it out. These are the things you have to bomb, kind of reprocessing, reactors, enrichment. You don't have to worry so much about mining and conversion, because you take out these, you cut off the nuclear fuel cycle. They can't develop a uranium or a plutonium bomb. All right. I looked at the top suppliers for different categories of imports, because those are the people you want to put sanctions against the Iranians to crush them. Okay. This is looking at the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, right? When we had the Iranian hostage crisis, we were pretty damn low. The first Gulf War, we were pretty high. And then after the September 11th attacks, we wisely built up the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. It's probably come down a great deal since then, but I haven't looked at it. This just looks at the output in million barrels per day of each of these onshore Iranian oil fields, and then also offshore Iranian oil fields at the time. Then this just looks at strategic risk, right, versus operational risk. So precision airstrikes, high strategic risk because you're not going to achieve your aim. A comprehensive bombing campaign is kind of lower, and they're both kind of lower operational risk because you don't have a lot of stuff on the ground. A limited ground campaign is kind of in the high strategic risk and mid operational risk. A full-scale ground campaign, high strategic risk, high operational risk. Political suicide, basically. But notice, the strategic risk, for the most part, is high. It's not really, the comprehensive bombing campaign is the best option, and that's what we're going to do. That's what's coming. That's the most likely option. None of this, a lot of factors have changed. This calculus has not changed in 20 years. All right, so what would they do? Well, they would close the Strait of Hormuz, right? They might also destroy Saudi oil fields with ballistic missiles. In this case, they have hypersonic ballistic missiles. So if you think the Strait of Hormuz is the only thing that would get shut down, you're in for a rude awakening, because they're going to target all that stuff. Okay? And back then, the Strait of Hormuz had about 20% of the or about 20% of the world's oil production moved through that strait. It is the world's geopolitical jugular. Okay? Now, it might be less than that. I'd have to check. But again, what do you do if you're Iran? Well, you might destroy Saudi oil fields and make things hurt for everybody. Increased international terrorism. Why not? Support of Shia insurgencies in Beirut, in Iraq, all over the place. And then they might decide to use WMD against the U.S. and its allies, right? They might use it just simply as an area denial weapon by firing, persistent chemicals into a persistent chemical attack into the Strait of Hormuz, and just have a cloud just sitting there so you can't move anything through it to close it back down. So people don't realize how ugly this stuff could be. Let's see if there's anything else. Sorry, folks. I'm just trying to, and I don't even know. I'm not even getting feedback because I'm just looking at this. So hopefully people are still tuned in. All right. And then the rest is just math. Okay. Decision trees, and this is game. This is game theory, which Kurt Metzger hates. But the U.S. has kind of a Nash equilibrium in like a case. But anyway, it's like beautiful mind shit, people. Iran has a dominant strategy, which is to be as conservative as possible. Anyway, it's a little scenario analysis, all that good stuff. And these are the people that I talk to, okay? So this guy was a surface warfare officer in the United States Navy. He was actually on board the USS Cole when it was attacked in 2001. And he also worked for Bremer, who kind of administered Iraq after the war. You know who Dr. Ashton Carter is. This guy was a special forces officer who participated in Operation Viking Hammer in northern Iraq against the al-Zawahiri network. Let me see if there's anybody else. I met a guy at the State Department, Henry Wooster. He was a good dude. I wouldn't be surprised if he was CIA, but I don't know. I'm just anyway. I interviewed all these people before, as part of the process as well, and then pretty comprehensive. We're excited, all that stuff, and then you can see me when I'm like much younger. And this is just all the case studies that I went through. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with any more of this, but let me see if there's anything that's. These are the major Iranian oil. Let's see. Yeah, so major Iranian oil fields, Iranian imports and exports, composition of imports by category. This is economic impact of an oil embargo. Yeah, so it's pretty. There's a quantitative aspect to all this as well. Decision trees. Good Lord. Anyway, that's it. That's all. For at least that piece. All right, I'm going to go now to the comments because I have no idea what the audience is talking about. Where are we? I'm like way, 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 way behind on comments, people. All right. Hold on. Holy shit. Okay, sorry. I gotta stop. I'm cursing way too much tonight, guys. My apologies. I'm just trying to find my original spot. Because I marked. All right, here we go. All right. Thank you, Blue Crayon. You must be a former Marine. That's all right. I love Marines. I understand having to do the show late. You have kids. Sometimes it's only time you have yourself. Well. As I live and breathe. Good to see you, Logan. Hey, Gandalf. Good to see you, brother. Maggie Smith says, do we have two warring cabal? No. There's only one cabal. Or cabal. Cabal, sorry. And it is above governments. All right, so Fast Mama Jump said, Chris Bledsoe said in his last interview, the evil forces are doing child traffic. Well, duh, yeah. Lutnick, yes. Lutnick every week until Lutnick is no longer the Commerce Secretary. Hey, Oracle Ralphai. And again, just to reiterate myself. Okay. Who the hell puts on that Cults Called a Radical ass intro music? I do, because I got nothing against them. They didn't try to censor my free speech, whereas our greatest ally has directly inserted themselves into our political process. So I play it just to remind our greatest ally that we see them. Yeah, Fast Memory Chat. Wow, 9/11. Most missing files are from before and after. Are from before. Yeah, from 1999 and 2001. They're suspiciously absent. What do you know? Yes, Lutnick is repulsive. Absolutely. Hey, Spider-Bite. Good to see you. I'm going to play that every week. You're going to have to get used to it, Iliad. Because we have all been brainwashed to hate that religion. And look, I don't think it's a good religion, but I think we fought a lot of wars that we didn't have to fight because we've been brainwashed about it. So I play it because it sounds dark, to be honest with you. That's why I really play it. But if it upsets people, then I'm fine with that. Lots of these celebs, yeah, I know. Lutnick is absolutely a liar. Scott Ian, yep, hello, brother. By the way, YouTube rejected my comment the first time. It said, YouTube rejected your comment. This usually means they think it's spam. Try changing it a bit. I literally just wrote, I do it to trigger our quote-unquote greatest ally. Apparently, those are triggering words now. Isn't that interesting? Okay, so he was in the island and the ages of his kids did not match. Like they were talking code words. Oh, man. Yeah, did you see the eyes wide shut mask of Letnick that they found at the island? You can't make this stuff up. All right. His face does not say that disgusting person when he says, I know. I know. Iliad said, and no one will know because when they tune in, they will hear and call to worship and turn away. Well, it is what it is. Or they'll come back. I'm not gonna censor an entire culture just because, Yeah, war with Iran is happening. You don't send that many ships to the, which we're gonna get into this as soon as I get through a lot of these comments, because it makes absolutely no sense from a vital national interest standpoint, none whatsoever. And I'm going to get into it because I have questions, but because this wasn't debated anywhere, none of these questions are going to be brought up. So we're going to walk headlong into a disaster. Like I said, I'm going to tell you how it will end, just like I predicted it would happen in writing 20 years ago. Yeah. Hey, Ellie Softly, good to see you. No, they won't. This thinking is silly. I'm not sure which thinking, but oh, you don't think they're going to bomb? Well, you'll have a chance to. I'm not. It's probably out of context. You probably should not. Yeah, he shouldn't have said children in this thing. Truth Assassin says, just think about it. I graduated in 2009. The 10-year-old girls. Oh, man, I'm not touching that one. It's all about child trafficking. Today, Wexner said Epstein was lawyer of Google, Amazon, and Rothschilds. And he's not even a lawyer. That's the thing. He doesn't even have a college degree, people. Yet he was on the Trilateral Commission. Like, not the lady behind him. Must be, who knows. Yeah, I'm not getting to that. Okay, so Denny Heimnot said, love it. My grandmother always said a lie lasts only till the truth surfaces. You're awesome. Keep it good work. Well, thank you, brother. Thank you, Denny. Best thing you can do for your kid today is keep them off the internet as long as possible and keep them active in arts and sports. But even careful when they're active in arts and sports. Make sure you're watching their coaches and their teachers too, because who knows? Fast Manager, these could be the fallen angel hybrids that eat people. Who knows? I mean, at this point, anything is possible. Like they've lied about literally everything. So Truth Assassin says the parents are to blame. Shame on them. There's nothing. If there is a network that is more powerful than your government, that operates in the shadows, if they want your kid, they'll take your kid, and there's literally nothing you can do about it. That's why people are upset. That's why people are angry. It's not the parents' fault. Okay, so Spiritual Ascension said we need to distract these. I'm not saying that word. By the way, it ends in eem, because that's the singular, that word. So, all right, Maggie Smith says not a Rich Hoagland fan, but he always said the lie is different on every level. Yeah, I'm beginning to see that too. So why are guys bad for looking? Truth Assassin, you shouldn't be looking at underage. You shouldn't be looking at children in that way at all, ever. I don't understand your question. I hope I'm misinterpreting your question. Like that's a moral absolute. Like it's just not. It's not okay. No, there's definitely a link between UFO and Epstein files, and it's right now the most obvious thing is in the gravity research stuff. Okay, yeah, the psychopathic cabal. are from demonic bloodlines. They ain't like us. This war that is coming. Well, I guess I didn't predict it because it didn't happen yet, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen next week. It's going to start next week. So, and we're all going to lose, like, if you have any money in retirement, so like that, you're going to, hopefully temporarily, but you're going to lose a lot of money next week in the stock market. Okay. Okay, so disgruntled rector. There are some hints of old Bush being there, the same Bush who supposedly said Clinton that he needs to butt off when he tried to learn more. Oh, yeah. Like, Bush is one of those bloodlines, right? Like, they were big, like, that family was big supporters of the Yahtzees, right? Like, Brown Brothers Harriman. Like, I think they funded a lot of the, kind of the Yahtzee rise to power in Germany. 90% redacted. Yeah. Yep. Monsters are real and they look like people. That's correct. Hey, Spiritual Century, good day. Yeah, it's a clown show. Ellie softly, it's a clown show. Yeah, he might be. Because I guarantee he's been at more things that are in the files. He just under oath admitted to the things in the files. Hey! Kill your egregores. What did they, yeah, Kerp's the greatest, man. He's the greatest. I want to ask him to, like, I want to do one of these and call it, what was I going to call it? Like the White Claw Summit, where we just each do this for 2 hours and drink White Claws. But he's a busy man, and I don't want to ask him for that. But if he's watching now and thinks that would be a good idea, he has a standing invite to do that any Saturday night. Any Saturday night. I don't drink White Claws because I don't know. They're kind of sweet in the pants. But I would drink them. I would drink them and humiliate myself drinking them just for Kurt, because that's his thing. And by the way, I don't know, he should have a sponsorship for White Claw. He just should. I mean, I just throwing that out there. But yeah, Kerp is the man. By the way, have you all seen his impression of Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir? Because if you haven't, watch the Jimmy Dore show from like 2 days ago. It is like the Mishlove impersonation. In fact, if we have time, I'll probably just play it here, just so you can see it, because it's like next level. Anyway. All right. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm not going to read that out loud, Truth Assassin, but if that were my daughter, there wouldn't be any courts involved. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, it's been normalized to lie under oath. Well, just for the elite class. For the rest of us, right? Like if the IRS erroneously thinks that you owe them $52, they will come after you with the full weight and power of the U.S. government, which they have to this one woman that I've seen on Twitter. But if you're one of these people, don't worry about it. Kids, they're peasants. They're peasant kids. You're fine. You're good to go. Trump likes to do stuff. Well, he gave the Iranians like 10 days to consider a proposal. And unlike an honorable man, he always front runs his thing. So if he says 10 days, he'll attack in 5. Right? It's just everything's in bad faith. Look, I didn't vote for him because I thought he was a genius. He's a marketing genius. There's no doubt about that. But I voted for him because I thought he was going to dismantle the system. I thought he was telling the truth. But it turns out like the system we see is kayfabe. It's fake, right? There's a system beyond the system. We're a farm, as Charles Fort once said. So, yeah, like voting harder is not going to save us. Okay. Yeah, I'm not. Okay, so spiritual ascension. I need to warn you all of future happenings. We remember, American goes to war with Iran. That actually happens. Yeah, it's going to happen. It's obvious to me. By the way, I called the Ukraine war too. It was obvious to me. You don't move that much hardware into a region unless you mean to go to war. Yeah, I know, money guy. If you could see me at the time, well, it was like glaring up to my right. Yeah, that's why I was glaring. Yeah, I know. I couldn't. I was sitting here. I wanted to. Well, I'm not going to say what I wanted to do. Yeah, there ain't no orbs coming to save us. It's for the artistic ambiance of the channel. Thank you, Disgruntled Raccoon. Yeah, and you also get the performance of me like seething with rage in the background. So just if you go back and watch that, you'll be more entertained by that noise. But the noise is long since gone, thank God. Yes, he does. He does work for some Russian media outfit now. Gandalf. That's important context. I think that's right. Okay. This is not from remote viewing. So did the remote viewers get any of the dates of us attacking Iran and how bad it will get? No. I mean, I don't think they've looked at it recently that I know of, but I'm just telling you it's going to happen. So just from like an analytical standpoint, everything has been moved into place. They're already evacuating Americans from Iran and from the region. It's very clear it's going to happen. Oh, future forecasting group saw a mushroom cloud this month. Yeah, I read someplace else, like this 4chan thing, that the Israelis were going to attack first and use like tactical nukes, which I don't believe that, because if they did that, like they're already an international pariah, they would be permanently an international pariah if they used tactical nukes in the battlefield. Because not only would it normalize that, but it would give the Russians a green light to use tactical nukes in Ukraine. So, okay. Yeah. Yep, Iran Monday or Tuesday. Hey, thank you, Harry, again. I really appreciate that. Twice in one live stream. Thank you so much. I really, really do appreciate that. Disgruntled Raccoon. You didn't vote hard enough. Vote harder. Vote harder. Kim Iverson will have a show about sudden cancer cures after the Epstein files. I just looked up cancer cured. Spanish scientists have found a cure for cancer. Yeah, except a cure that makes you sicker, probably. Iran won't go to Rothschild banking system. They're going to get attacked. Yeah. Yeah. I'm more scared that our system will collapse because of Iran, because nobody supports it. Nobody here supports it. Right? And there's a number of other things, too, that I have to talk about that doesn't make it good. I wonder if nuclear weapons will be used if Iran really F's up Israel by Israel. Yeah. Yeah, if they were to destroy like downtown Tel Aviv, which they almost did if we hadn't intervened last summer, yeah, the Israelis would have used their nukes. Julian and John is gold. Oh, yeah. I've been voting for Batman for still not Batman. Yeah, just bring a cartload of votes. Vermin Supreme for president. On second thought, maybe not. Yeah. Don't call it a system. Call it after the. Yeah, it's a facade. It's a Potemkin village. The world is a stage. Welcome to the show. Spiritual Ascension said. We have to wait 14 more years for the passive revolt to happen in the United States. Yeah, but there's going to be riots and violence, though. That's what Lynn Buchanan said. He just doesn't like talking about it on my show. Hopefully a lot of those riots have passed, but Just stay out of cities is just what I would tell you. Yeah, they're trying to replace Iranian government by I mean, you're not going to do regime change from the air. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. Remember shock and awe? We still had to send troops in. So if this administration thinks a bombing campaign is going to cause the Iranian people to like rise up, it's absurd. It's absurd. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. It would have been better if Hillary got into power in 2016. At least the system would have collapsed. Trump's slow collapse. yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Although I think Hillary's collapse would have been far more violent. We can have a felon elected president, but a felon can't. Yeah, but is he really a felon, or is he just a lawfare felon? Right? He's a lawfare felon, clearly. Yeah, I don't. Always love the word cahoots. I hope they don't ban it. Rollerball. Schwab is the filthiest, most disgusting. He's like the original Dr. Evil. He's the OG, right? Yeah, sorry I had to. I mean to the part. I'm only there where I'm talking in the German accent. Yeah, Klaus is our savior, Indrid. Eat the bugs and go to the 15-minute city and you will all be happy. Oh my God. Yeah, I still don't think World War III is a good idea. Was it that credible that someone who might just casually tuned in would think I'm German? Well, I am half German by DNA, but anyway. Thank you, Colonel Raccoon. Nice. I didn't know Sean had arranged for such an esteemed surprise guest. No, it won't. It will probably degrade this stream for the Klaus imitation, because that's the World Economic Forum, and we can't say anything negative about the World Economic Forum. They're the best, the greatest. They are our true betters. We don't want to ever say anything negative about the World Economic Forum. They will wipe out the masses in vast quantities with poison and gas. Just tuned in. This dude has a crazy voice. Literally, someone in the comments predicted that somebody's just going to stroll in and be like, what the fuck is going on here? Oh my God. Yeah, hey, if you want to bring me to Davos, I don't think I would fit in, but yeah, you never know. You never know. Yeah, I know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Anyway. Oh, man. I'm just going through. Yep, that's right. You will own nothing and be happy. Is this the evil Julian Childs? I'm glad you're still on Kill Your Egregores, especially since Kurt recommended this, because I'm not. This is not a professional operation. I'm not a professional comedian. I'm not even I'm not funny. I'm not supposed to be a funny guy. I'm glad that worked. Oh yeah, yes, a Dubuque. Ian Carroll said that Wexner talks. Yeah, he in an article, in a 1986 article, he claimed that he was possessed by Dubuque or Dubuque. or Dybbuk. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's basically a Jewish or Hebrew demon. For some reason, I feel the need to drink right now. I don't drink. Is this a mathematic? Could be. If someone wants to pay me to, promote their product in that accent, I'd be happy to do so. I think Weed Killer would probably be the, we have the best arsenic. It will kill all the bugs, and you will be happy when it kills the bugs. As long as the bugs are not your children, which it will also kill. Yeah, it would be a good Weed Killer commercial. That is a lot of words to say. We're going to chip you. YouTube will never the algorithm will never propel me that high for obvious reasons. I can't hear Dr. Evil. Uh-oh, how did I lose my sound? Oh my God. Do I still have no sound? Hold on. Oh, muted. What the fuck? I mean, you can still read it. All I hear is farts. And I guess heavy breathing and movement. What the heck? Uh-oh. I hope I wasn't just yelling into the void for too long. Okay. He represents the Rothschilds. How did he manage that? I don't know. That's weird. I mean, he could be lying too, but that's weird. Thiel and Elon have tunnel company. Everything happens in Yeah, they're actors basically. Disgruntled Raccoon said he likely sacrificed a lot of things to Moloch to do that. I hear it's all the rage with the Rothschilds, or was it Baal? Can't remember. They got the guns, but we got the numbers. They don't have enough of anything. Well, it depends. Yep. All right, let's see. Yeah, they're definitely missing files before. It's from 1999 to 2001, where there's a disproportionately low number of files. Yeah, 100% tariffs. So yeah, we're all paying it. How much for the bridge? $20 million. Sean sounds like the Knights of Me. I am the Knights of Me. We need a distraction on the Epstein side. Release the UFO. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. I hope Lynn Buchanan is correct that those who survive will live in it. But yeah, they will, because they're just going to... the central government is losing legitimacy faster and faster and faster. Yep. New guy. I hope my audio is back. Bubba Vanga 1996 predictions are on point. I ain't no mouse either. I'm a raccoon. Revolution. Yikes, time flies too fast. The future is only seen through a glass darkly. That's right, Tahuti 42. That's an interesting number you got there. Probably not much of a difference, though. Rocket, is that you? Just going, okay, blah, blah, blah. Edgar Casey, Nostradamus, Diane Warwick. Is she like the Psychic Friends Network? Something like that. Mitch, Klaus Schwab had to go back to the Legion of Doom. Yeah, he's made his performance for one night. Yeah, he is. He was the protege of Henry Kissinger. And he also has a degree from the same institution I have a degree from. So that's weird. That's weird. Okay. Do you have a second sight? No, I'll predict it. I don't know if I don't know if I'll be right, but I think it's pretty obvious what's going to happen. The Sasquatch videos are on point. Yeah, they are, but nobody's watching them. So those are the worst performing videos I've done in 2 years, by the way. Not that they're bad. It's just that nobody wants to watch things about, or there's like a group of diehard Sasquatch fans, and then there's people who just don't. But at the end of the day, it's all the same. It's all these like the way that sentient plasmoids behave, basically, right? You have portals that open, things step out, you have reports, you have poltergeist activity. It's like all the same. It's all the same stuff. The phenomenon that you see with UFOs and ghosts, all that stuff. It's like all connected. Yeah, they do have all their hands in all the curriculum, schools, etc. That's where Maxwell came in. Her father owned Pergamon Press. So not only did they like control the textbooks that you were seeing it as a student in school, but they were also controlling academic research and peer reviews and all that stuff. It's a pretty dark system. Nick Burns, your company's computer guy. Yeah, exactly. No, they won't though. Nobody's gonna revolt. Until people start starving, nobody's gonna revolt. Right? People only revolt when they have nothing left to lose. Hunger strike. He is raising tariffs using another law. It's not unconstitutional. Okay, but it's also not good. Like when the Supreme Court declared that thing unconstitutional, the stock market went boop. So it kind of tells you how well those tariffs are working. Like, and then there are rumors that Lutnick, his sons, bet against the tariffs that his father recommended. So that's a whole other layer. Now people are saying it's conspiracy theory and all that stuff. I don't know. The guy's a pretty big scumbag. So like, I'm just going to assume the worst. But Barry, I need to look that up. I don't know much about his family background, but I did not see that coming. It was what I would say. Groovy was only the lure. All the jazz. Yep, some fat cat in the military will throw this place. Maybe. It's mostly closed astray. Discover Raccoon said, I read a few months ago that FFG predicted a market crash in Q1 2026. It would be so funny if it turned out to be true next week. That's 20%. Yeah, I could see it declining 20% if we started bombing Iran next week. Yeah, I could see a sharp decline like that. That's pretty logical. Read a few months ago that FFG. Okay, I just jumped backward. Someone said that if Iran rocks 3 or 4 moves, that will shoot up at least $10. It will shoot up at least $10. Food is costly. It'll shoot up more than $10, brother. Like $10 is optimistic. I mean, the price of oil might double or triple, is what you're probably going to see. Well, that's a good theory, and there's maybe some truth to that. That's why Trump took Venezuela. Lots of oil. We have the refineries. That might be. I guarantee you they made this decision to bomb Iran like a year ago or earlier. Because I was there when they decided to. I was in the army when they decided to invade Iraq. And in February 2002, I was put on stop loss because I had like some military intelligence designations. I had no training. And I couldn't leave the military. Like they just froze me in place. So I knew in February of 2002 that we were going to invade Iraq. And then sure enough, in March 2003, over a year later, we did. You just serve them in forms of questions, not even sneaky, but trolling. I get served for Americans. Their leaders are completely insane. Yes, they are. Hey, Kastudis, good to see you. Could it be because there was a certain little country in the Middle East that has bigger ambitions to expand their borders into other countries? But they're the chosen people. What are you talking about? You're antiseptic. All right, anyway, everybody's mad here in the world. Yes, they are. The difference is they're mad everywhere else. They're just retarded here. Let's see. John Teeter may make their rounds again. Maybe. There's specific group's controversial holiday coming up. Who knows? Day fasting. Almost don't want to say it. I'm not going to say it either. This is logic. What to do makes sense. When I ask why let the time pass, no regional positioning was not it. Regional positioning cover for what? Treasonous trap to sacrifice someone's system. There's no UFOs. Trump's well, he is a good friend. I mean, he's just Richie Rich. That's what he is. So like he's not smart. He's just a marketing genius, and he knows how to enrich himself. But I knew that when I voted for him. Like I didn't have any. It's just the alternative. The alternative was like war with Russia a year ago. Like if we had voted for the other side, we would be at war with Russia, and then, so that we can kill as many white men as possible in the killing fields of Ukraine. Let's see. When the war starts, the economy will collapse. The economy's not going to collapse, but it will be really bad. Basically, a dozen orgs including nations, run parallel long-term ops to their end and often piggyback and all that. Yeah, that's probably right. No, it's a system. It's just the system above this system is very well ordered. They plan in 100 years. Just look at the Club of Rome. There's a document. It's called The Limits to Growth. It was written in 1972. Just read that and you'll figure it out. You'll figure out what's going on. There is a system above the system that controls all this stuff. I don't know for sure, but I would say 85%. I'm 85% certain that's the case. Okay, so it'll trick all the smart people into self-pruning nations and frankly, possibly, ultimately themselves, because I just don't care anymore to find it. Yeah, it will trick people into self-pruning, for sure. Okay, Truth Assassin says, I'm ready for the collapse. Who else? I got 70s camper van and 6,000 worth of survival gear, including 5 pew-pews. Okay, Ned from Wales is deeply disturbed after reading emails and wonders what's the point of anything. The point is how you react to this gross injustice and evil in the world, right? Like, control what you can control. Be the light, don't be the darkness. And that's all you can do. All you can do is control what your actions are. And you're going to see some... I mean, we're seeing some diabolical stuff, and just don't descend to that level. Right? There is a life after this one, and we might not all survive this, but just live your life as if there's one beyond, and you'll be fine. Enjoy the experience. Make the most of the experience. 0, nil chaos. Perhaps best distortion is self-induced hubris when it comes to perspective. Maybe. I would take the Sukhoi, Kastudis. The F-35 is a hangar queen. Like it's like spends more time in the getting maintenance than it does actually in the air. Okay. Iliad saying basically anyone's shoes you put on will see through their eyes, their goals and strategies revealed. And eventually, if you wear everyone's mental shoes, you will see everything what they don't see. That's a good perspective. All right. I mean, Islam will give up nukes and be nice, or anyone really who has nukes. Well, the Islamic regimes don't have them either, or they don't have them because we've prevented them from having them. Okay. Epstein classified signal intelligence equals misery. Let's focus on reality, which is once someone gets big weapons, they don't give them up, period. And second, nukes or so. Yesterday, they faked making wonders. That's not true. That's the South Africans gave up their nukes. I mean, that's people do. We'll do, and same thing with Ukraine. Ukraine gave up its nukes. So there are real world examples where people don't have nukes. Hey, Riders DG says, hello, Sean. Hope you and family are doing great. God bless to all. All right, I gotta get through these faster so I can actually say what's going to happen. Military released TDC to civilians via garages. Now they fear tech out of garages. They should. What you learn from studying history is that men learn nothing from history. Correct, Tahuti. I think we're past nukes matter only now. Well, there's other things that they have that are probably worse than nukes, like neutron bombs, and which are supposed to be technically illegal, but they still have them, and weather weapons. Yep, probably with SA, I think it's 40 systems, because the Russians have like the best or excellent air defense systems. What if, like Iran, they already have AI? They all have AI. Mamdani. Well, Mamdani's going to destroy New York. There's no doubt about it, but who cares? Trump's new 15%. Trump's a retard. That's my thoughts. The market is going to decline in result to it. Keep in mind that Lutnick is like advising him. So, do we trust Lutnick? Does he have any bone of integrity in his body? No. Lutnick's going to recommend things that benefit Lutnick. Full stop. Chinese radars can see F-35s. Yeah, probably. Like Russia will blow America out of the water. No. No. Russia will not blow America out of the water. Iliad, an advanced AI or Iraq or some rando in a tent there. This would be a joke now. Well, it's the most potent reality. Yeah, but the thing is with AI, nuclear weapons are still very hard to acquire because they require cyclotrons to spin highly pure U-235. So even with AI, the little guy can never get a nuke unless they somehow are able to procure highly enriched U-235. That's the key barrier to like somebody just making a suitcase nuke on their own. Let's see. His greatness should have been Pope as well as president. AI is what's wrong with this fool-ass place here. Who knows? Self-annihilation, less can be short-circuit, imminent failure, DC flight risks. I bet you have at least twice. He is at least twice as holy. He's the holiest, man. Tahiti, he's the holiest. The world is making me laugh. Tragic. We have zero wisdom as individuals and clusters, and yet again we reach the crossroads of mass knowledge and info. Oy boy. Most solutions past AI. If anyone gets real AGI, that's a bigger weapon than anything else. Yeah. Say the F away from. Either it will give us respite for decades or merciful beginning. Open the car door, Hal. Down with the infidels. No more Iran. Anyone here is free to grab a rifle and shoulder the burden of empire. I've already done that, and I'm not doing that anymore. I'll be the first round of water. Moderators are tough here. What? Can't type half the words. Really? Yeah, I don't have moderators, so that's YouTube directly that's doing that. If you're getting censored, I mean, I got censored, which was absurd. God, what's with this defeatist attitude? I don't know. I think there's opportunity because our entire elite class is going to get wiped. I think that's lots of opportunity. What do I mean? I mean, patch one hole, 1 billion will form, roads, routes, and borders change, all now fleeting in Sudoku. When is the mod squad? I have no idea. Truth Assassin CarumTube just did an update earlier this week, and tons of words have been censored a lot. Drone swarms sucked into jet engines. So, yeah, that's correct. Tis the rhymes. We are not a sane species, so expect insane things, even if we all reach goals, and never win. What kind of times are these? These are interesting times. That's the time to use it. Some channels can censor words and do, but I do have trigger words that I put in there so that YouTube doesn't demonetize me. So like the N word, like variants of the N word, if you put any of that in then it definitely won't let you say it. So maybe it's what I put as the I do have filter words. So, but there isn't like an active mod taking things down. If somebody wants to test, if they write the N word and just see what happens and see if that filter takes it out, it should. In theory, it should. But okay, so Truth Assassin said, I bet you didn't know Donald is related to the royal family. That's why he wants Canada. Makes sense. The royals wouldn't let China take Canada. I have to spell it. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's going to happen. It won't send it. Interesting. Boom, boom. I don't think they're sacrificing religion. I think Israel's sacrificing everybody else. Chile US Expat said a lot of people are going to end up with very little food to eat or completely different diets because of high food costs plus high rent back in the U.S. and who knows what. Yeah, it could be scary. Is the number of a man. Wait, Kerp. Custodus is Kerp here? Or did I just say Kerp? Order 6, yeah. Thank you, Karl Garrison. So no, I didn't get a hold of Trussell. I texted him, just introducing myself. But I have to text him again. I just don't want to be too creepy. Yep. Thank you. Many beings who are here on Project Angelic Human on Source behalf have been talking about Iran getting nuked for years. Let's see. Thousands of floating ball bearings occupy the flight perimeter. Yeah, Cult of Baal. Cobal. I now remember that robot art just gathering its oil endlessly sums it up. Let's see. Let me guess, you have never lived near them and have no idea about Ottomans and our children. Near who? The Ottomans are, like the Ottoman Empire, the Turks. Let's see, the Vatican, Templar, and Zionists are in the nutty list. Only Abaddon holds the key to the bottomless pit. That's I think it's like the angel of destruction, Tahuti, I think. Or it's a demon. Or both. All you need is just a taste of it. Hey, John Smythe. Good evening. Little bottle of shaving kit. Ukraine bombed another pipeline to Hungary. Oh my God. War with Iran. Look here. Don't leave up. Yep. Wag the dog. Let me guess. Kings of the world want the key. I'm sure it's to let someone out and not slave. Yeah, they want to point us to AI. Yeah, I know. I'm going to get the predictions as soon as I get through these comments. Frankists I am picturing it, kings and queens relinquish power to a being they believe in brings them power. If it showed up and said, hand it over. Probably synthetic intelligence, yep. Sabbatean Frankists. Yeah. Be funny if Cabal has bunkers, secret ones built and found, and they all get doxxed by orbs. That would be pretty awesome. That would be pretty awesome. Let's see. Solite USX Pat saying I'm playing around with chatbot instead of saying our greatest ally. You could say the desert homies. Yeah, that's true. Okay. The Mishlove impression by Kerp was amazing. Is it all about oil, Venezuela, Iran? I think it's all about depopulation. I think all this other stuff is smokescreen. I think they're just trying to depopulate the world. Had my Social Security garnished for a few years. It made me a bit of a heart. Whoa. They can garnish your Social Security card? Oh, your actual Social Security. Good Lord. I was in trouble with IRS for a mistake they made. Yep, it took me 4 months to fix. That's fast, actually. That's much faster. Usually people take years. Purim starts March 2nd. Remind me what Purim is. I know it's like a holiday, but I'm going to look up. I'll just look it up. I'll freely admit when I'm ignorant. Okay, so it's a Jewish holiday. It's in the Book of Esther. Oh, that's kind of on the nose. So Purim is a joyful Jewish holiday that commemorates the deliverance of the Jewish people from a plot to destroy them in ancient Persia. 2 on the nose, people, as told in the biblical Book of Esther. This is when Xerxes was around. Purim is based on events traditionally dated to the 5th century BCE, during the reign of the Persian king Ahasuerus, often identified with Xerxes II, or Xerxes the First. Oh boy. It celebrates the defeat of evil. So maybe they think it'll be over by then. I don't know. Whoa, that's a big jump in subscribers. Anyway, what is driving that? I mean, it's not that big, but it's big enough. Well, it's definitely not this live stream, so. But lots of views tonight. Very, very, very weird. Now I lost my place. What's it? Oh, brother. I'm just trying to find where I left off. Right at that. Here we go. I found it. All right. After Iran, Turkey is next. Hoo-hoo. Maybe. Anyway. Yeah, he lost his... Yeah, Blue Crayon says John Greenwald Jr. on X said he lost his Black Vault data. It was... Oh, good. I know, that would freak me out, too. Yeah, maybe he is Illuminati. Who knows? Not really happy, but kind of happy. The top is corrupt. The presumption of innocence is an oxy. Yeah, that's right. Astrolab. When Q said pain, we thought he meant the 1%, not us. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, the Goblin controls Trump. By the way, I call that guy the Goblin because he's just a goblin. Spiritual ascension, he's not a felon. The other party engaged in, I mean, technically, yes, but the other party engaged in ridiculous lawfare. he literally was prosecuted for doing something that everybody who buys a house in the United States does, or everybody who sells a house in the United States does. So, like, yeah, he's just targeted. Not that I'm saying he's a good guy. I'm just, yeah, war is definitely coming. I follow many German streamers. Very strange. I love Wef positive. Right, positive. Oh my God. Do you have the best roundup? I can't say. Yeah. Only got muted when you played the mini Dr. Evil. Oh, okay. It probably wasn't on then. Yeah, they do make Life Earth. Yeah, the Bigfoot narrative is heaven boring. We need hard Bigfoot footage. Oh, nice. John Kurtz said he saw a UFO last night in Phoenix. Yeah, things would have to get a lot worse for people to revolt. So Schwab went back to the Legion of Doom after getting booted for. Well, yeah, he probably was insider trading. I wouldn't be surprised, Maggie. Hey, new guy Darren, thank you very much for the $20. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Why some people say jazz is a weapon? Oh. Cali had 8 feet of snow in 4 days. Yeah, yeah. Well, in the mountains, which is like 3 hours from me. Really? You got cool synchronicities during my last? Yeah, I did have like a little poltergeist incident when I did it. I had like the lights over there, like just flashing on off. It's just somebody was like moving the switch up and down. And I originally thought my son was doing it, but I was on like a meeting or a call and I couldn't respond. And then I asked my wife if he was at home at the time. And she's like, no, he wasn't home. And then the lights are totally fine now. But that did happen during that. Oil for diesel engines. So just going to record regarding Lynn saying there would be riots and stuff. Is there a way to learn more? Can one write to Lynn directly? I hear he is quite busy and rarely reads them. Yeah, he actually, the last time I talked to him, he was complaining about the volume of emails that he was getting. He's like, I need help. I get so many emails that like I actually have to like. I'm like, well, try to use AI. He's just like, I'm trying. Like, it's just too much. So your best bet is to try to email him directly and just hope he gets back to you. Iran's water situation is code red. Oh, boy. Okay, so Nick Riviera, PhD. Oh, my God, we're like 9 minutes over. But I do have to tell you what's going to happen, but I got to get through these comments first. So Venezuelan heavy crude oil is basically useless by itself, but it can be refined perfectly when blended with Iranian light crude oil. Oh boy. So like the big drinking reservoir is down like 56%. Oops, was this? Do you think there's a big saucer in the Iraqi? I have no idea. Hey, new guy Darren. You gotta do the clap like Coach Colin. I haven't watched Coach Colin. What's the clap like? I will because you gave me $5. I will watch Coach Colin just so I can see what the clap is. Just because you gave me that. So Trump said Sheldon and Miriam visited him more than anyone else. Yeah, what a surprise. No. Sheldon Adelson. So you figure that one out. Hive mind cross life plans. Yes, brother. Sheldon, Miriam, Trump. World leaders and presidents are just regional managers. We don't know who the CEOs are. Yeah, that's correct. Well, they're country CEOs, but we don't know who's on the chairman of who the board members are, basically. Hey, Whitney. That is an amazing picture. Right on, man. Trump absolutely knew he would not be president 2020. Sherman said Donald, You can't be the president. You build a wall. We want massive. Yeah, of course they want massive immigration. Walls immune. Let's see. Dark matter is the alt universe bumping into ours. Maybe. Hey, thank you, Maggie. I appreciate that. Thank you. Did you see RTX previously? Okay. Oh, that's probably just Raytheon's stock ticker. Recently published a release about its subsidiary Pratt & Whitney and included a video of the F-47. I did not see that. Those who control South Africa chose not to have them there publicly. They never gave up nukes. Ukraine has close to 200 is a rumor. Maybe. I can't prove it either way, so I'm not going to say you're wrong. Lindsey Graham said a couple of days ago that Israel's way ahead of us in developing high-tech weapons, and he said they're planning the future of war. Whoops. No one gives us weapons or gives up weapons. Lugnut proves that earthworms come in many forms. Cyclotrons, they're just like you spin uranium through it, and it separates the neutrons so that you get down to highly pure U-235. Russia will never take out Trebs and high energy. Yeah. AI will design plasma weapons that can travel through ionosphere and amplify, rendering nukes a joke. Maybe, yeah. He who creates a rule only to break it themselves is rendered illegitimate, and that highlights the rule as illegitimate in a game with a pointless objective. The competitive ethic is the culprit. Yep. Probably able to utilize infrastructure like satellites. Yeah, maybe. I don't know how you're decoding that text. I'm not sure what you mean. Shuffling chairs on Titanic. As far as I recall, Dr. Farrell stated that the Yahtzees used lasers. This is how advanced they are to enrich uranium to make nukes. I don't think there's a need for cyclotrons anymore, right? I don't know. I'm not a nuclear physicist. Russia has more advanced weapons for sure. Russia incorporates metaphysics into their weapon. America said that was hippie mumbo jumbo, so Russia is known to have more. Well, no. The only public thing we know about our program is the Project Stargate. But that's just probably the tip of the iceberg when it comes to metaphysics and psychic stuff. There's always a chance for, yeah, of course. YouTube is moderating stuff for sure. I'm sure they're pretty active, actually. Like that trigger word. Did somebody try it? That makes sense. I tried using the word that Epstein used for regular people, and it got hidden. Yeah. Yeah, so there's certain words that... there's also words that I banned because there have been some people who are so fucking annoying that, like, every possible permutation and combination of the word nuclear, not nuclear. I say nuclear, but some people just say nuclear, like George Bush. Every variation of that word, misspelled, all that stuff, I filter out, because on one of my Brandenburg episodes, because he says nuclear, and he's a plasma physicist, like, it was so freaking annoying of like people saying, "Oh, nuclear," oh, I'm just like, I'm just filtering it out. It's just so dumb. Yes, GHEY. I'm not going to say it, but that's what I think of that. Derp. Canada accepting Chinese. Yeah, I saw that. Like, well, foreign, but that implies Chinese. Wait, I just got curbed? Come on. Where did I get curbed? You got to tell me somebody tell me where I got curbed, because I love when I get curbed. I don't think he's in here. I think he's probably like, can somebody give me context? Because I'm not the only one who wants to know. There's a bunch of people. Competing fosters by, but seriously, can somebody tell me like where the context on that? Inquiring minds want to know. You guys might want to look into ZERP and SPX. Hard times coming ahead. N to the I to the double. Oh. I see what you did there, Truth Assassin. I see what you did there. You almost got me. You almost got me. You get points for that. That was good. That was good. You almost got me. All right. On the topic of child predators, any thoughts on the online? I can't even set up the audio. I don't know. I did not. That's a rabbit hole I do not want to go down. Yeah, Georgia Guidestones for sure. Depopulation, correct. Give me control of a nation's groupthink, and I care not how the group feel. Yep. Zoological Carpet says, Jesuits, Knights of Columbus, P2 Masons, the Seventh Circle, Knights of Malta are the real protagonists of the story. Yeah, maybe. Sir Hulk-a-Lot. It's a pretty good name. Frozen. Oh, I was frozen. 300. Well, nothing I can do about it now. I'm continuing to go. Can still hear though. All right. Well, I'm going to keep going and assuming boob tube censoring has a whole new other level. I'm sure that the powers that be are a little nervous right now. They should be nervous right now. Plus, I talked about voting being knowably fake in some countries, so that probably triggered them. Epstein talking with you, lots of subs. It's hot. It's all the rage now. It's definitely drawing people in. I can't only imagine, somebody who came in during the Klaus Schwab bit. Who the hell is this crazy guy? Thank G. Sean got round to peoples. What does that mean? Is that good or bad? If you derp them, they will come. Oh. Wait. Why is screen unfrozen? Let's see. Okay, well, the video is... Okay, good. Smart people should... I'm not going to say that out loud, but I see where you're... Yeah, it's definitely... Yeah, I think Epstein won once or twice. It's definitely rigged. And witness the return of... Okay, Russia's a joke compared to us. We have anti-gravity Lockheed craft that can deliver payload. I've heard that, which is terrifying because if you put a nuke on it, that's inherently destabilizing. Yeah. That variant... Okay, I got to ask this question. John, how many variants of nuclear did you have to type in before you arrived at that? Inquirer minds want to know that. We also want to know the derp, how I got derped. Comments trap. Okay, all right. What's going to happen? God, it's good Lord, it's 9:19, and my stupid camera has decided to turn itself on and be its AI self. Now I gotta correct it. Son of a bitch. Why is this not moving? Oh, because it's got this little AI tracking nonsense on. All right, that's better. Good Lord. All right, I think I'm back to normal again. All right. That was your first try? That's pretty good. Do you guys believe Lynn Buchanan? I keep thinking of his encounter with the black grass. Look, I believe him. I definitely I believe him. That's a creepy story. How dare these monsters hide my messages? Sewer rats. All right, okay. What's going to happen with Iran? So this is stream of consciousness. I did not do any deep analysis, but here's the problem. The question you have to ask yourself are, what are the vital U.S. national interests in bombing Iran? Okay? And one might argue that it's nuclear nonproliferation. It's no longer really an energy security thing, although it does matter. So there's a component of energy security. However, by attacking them, you would make it even worse, because Iran would not only respond by blocking the Strait of Hormuz, but they would also likely target Saudi oil infrastructure and maybe Kuwaiti oil infrastructure, and cause oil prices to spike globally. So that's not good. The second area where the United States might have a vital national interest is in nuclear nonproliferation, right? Having fewer nuclear armed states is key. But there's a easier way to do that, or maybe not easier way, but there's a more obvious way to do that. Rather than bludgeoning Iran, you just turn to Israel and say, bro, you got to give up your nuclear weapons because that'll make the Middle East more stable. And maybe you give them a guarantee that we'll send troops to defend you if the Arabs try to destroy you. But like, that mad dog country should not have nuclear weapons. I mean, have you ever heard of the Samson option? Right? If they're on the verge of getting destroyed, they literally have a contingency where they just nuke everybody. So, like, it's not a serious. I mean, it's serious, but it's just like, that's an inherent kind of mad dog sort of mindset that they should be nowhere near nuclear weapons. Nuclear. I don't even know. Has anybody tried to get one through and like my weird spellings? Yeah, no one's. Yeah, you're gonna get it if you put a K in front of it. I didn't think of that. I guess that's what happens when you worship a demon. Yeah. Anyway, given those two things, we have no vital national interest in attacking Iran. In fact, it would make things even worse if we did. So, the second thing is, what are we trying to accomplish? Are we trying to destroy their nuclear program? Well, Trump told us all that he destroyed it, which is obviously he did not, because he did not attack the hundreds of targets that you would have to attack that in order to achieve that goal. So, it's to protect Israel's interest, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon. Yeah, you're correct. But I'm trying to be charitable and just say, well, what is in the vital U.S. national interest? And defending Israel is not a vital national interest. It's not. It's like there's no. It's just not correct, right? Hold on. What is this? Yeah. I'm blocked. It's nuclear. This is silent. How's the way they have muted the juice emoji? I don't know. Well, I'm not serving Israel. Distraction from the fact. Oh, juice. I got it. All right, anyway. So, if it doesn't really solve the nuclear non-proliferation problem, and attacking Iran would do grievous harm to everybody, to the global economic system, there's really no good reason to do it. Now, one, let's say that someone misguided thinks that we can get rid of their nuclear program. Well, that would require a comprehensive bombing campaign that never ended. We would literally just be, anytime we thought the Iranians were trying to reconstitute the program, we would just randomly bomb it. So that would require probably a 2-decade-long commitment where we just constantly have aircraft carriers stationed off of Iran, and we're bombing it whenever we can. Now, because Trump said that he destroyed their nuclear program, he can't publicly say that anymore as the goal. So the goal that they've been saying is they're pulling out this Iranian loyalty, cosplay fucking king, Pahlavi or whatever. He's just some fruit with a cape, okay? And so I guess we're not even going to try democracy this time. We're just going to bring back the king, right? So let's say what they're saying is regime change. Let's say that's what they're going with, okay? You're not changing a regime with an aerial bombardment campaign. That's never worked. You have to go in with soldiers to get there. So unless they're going to sell it as like we bomb it and they'll do some sort of false flag where they kill some Americans somewhere where we demand blood and then have to go into Iran. But would we win? I mean, could we conquer Iran? Sure. But then we would be there forever, and U.S. soldiers would be losing their lives constantly, and it would basically bankrupt the United States as a serious world power. So there's no upside to this. So I don't know why. I really don't I don't. So Brandon Barker saying, not a Jew who is obsessed and has been obsessed with Iran for years and years. Compromise given him the chance. Yeah, that's what it feels like is going on in the background. Let's see. All right, good luck winning without good old boys. Yeah, that's the other thing, too. Neither the right nor left in this country supports bombing Iran. Right? Not that the Iranians are, like, the Iranian regime is a good one, right? It's just, all right, so October 7th was 1,000% unacceptable. The war where missiles hit the Holy Land is unacceptable. But no, it was totally acceptable, at least where the missiles hit the Holy Land. And the reason it was totally acceptable is the Israelis started bombing Iran. So, of course, in fact, if the United States had not intervened, the Israelis would have run out of their Arrow missiles. They had about 2 weeks left. And if we hadn't intervened, the Iranians would have destroyed Tel Aviv. That's why we intervened and came up with some bullshit excuse that we destroyed their nuclear program. Now, October 7th was 100. Yeah, I agree. That was unacceptable. But that was Hamas. That wasn't women and children. Right? Whenever the U.S. fought somebody, we went after ISIS. We didn't go after women and children. We didn't shoot women and children. We didn't shoot medics and stuff like that. We didn't, completely level towns and stuff like that. And even, and when we fought terrorists, we actually defeated them. Israel's still fighting people. They have tanks. They have aircraft. They have the most advanced technology in the world, and they still can't defeat a bunch of sheep, goat fuckers with AK-47s. What does that tell you? Hey, Randall Mars. All right, the American oligarchy, dislike Russia and have for a long time, is an OG. So he's definitely an OG czar. A zoological carpet. Greetings made in Chad. What about Israel saying Turkey is next target? I think that's hilarious because the Turks would fuck up Israel. The Turks don't mess around, man. My wife's uncle was I think he was somebody he knew was in the Korean War. He was he was in the Korean he was in the Korean War, I think. I can't remember this. I just remember that in the Turkish sector, when they went to visit the Turkish sector, they just had piles of North Korean heads. The Turks don't mess around. It would not go well for Israel if they got into a war. And by the way, Turkey's a member of NATO, putatively. So that would be funny. That would be hilarious to watch because we would have to come in and bail out the Israelis. Let's see. Why were they not? Yeah, that's a good question. Why were they not ready? The most sophisticated human intelligence apparatus, or in the world, so sophisticated that they hold the entire U.S. government under compromise, and they didn't see October 7th coming. They let October 7th happen. Mistral, I'm not touching that, but fair point. Okay. All right. Is the Hez to the Bola are both? Well, they did do a pretty amazing. Mossad did a pretty amazing operation where they took out a huge number of Hezbollah people. Right. Don't hate the player. Hate the game. Let's see. Yeah, I'm outsmarting your petty AI bots. Why no one said roll out that belt? Okay, locked and loaded, be on alert. Yeah, I don't think they would touch Turkey either. That would be suicidal. Ultralights evaded the yeah. I need prayer so bad, my friends. Well, regardless of what you need prayer for, everyone pray for Yeshua. No judgment. Thank you so much. I can only pronounce aspects of it, but everyone pray for the Y. People are going through some dark times right now, and prayers help your neighbor. Anyway, so what's going to happen? So we know that there's no vital U.S. national interest in this. We're going to waste a lot of blood and treasure. All the benefits are going to accrue to Israel. That's not a judgment. That's just a fact. And then we're going to have to reap what the consequences are. And here's the other problem. We've expended a ton of ammunition in the Ukraine war to the point where we have shortages. Also, a lot of these newer weapons have rare earth metals. And we only have one rare earth metal mine that I know of in the United States. It's the old molybdenum company mine in California, which is like Southern California. I've actually been there because I wrote a short novella based on that thing. Thank you, Randall. Amen. I didn't see the thanks. But yeah, please do pray. And whatever God you pray to. It's all about good vibes. It's about moving that probability distribution in a positive direction. And so we rise and serve justice on behalf of the innocent, and so it is. Where was I going with this? So even if we wanted to be there and destroy their nuclear program, we have limited time, because we don't have enough rare earth to put in the electronics of these missiles. That China has most of the rare earth metals. So you imagine if this thing kind of gets going, the Chinese are going to be, especially the Russians. If I were the Russians, I would be providing Iran with satellite intelligence out the wazoo, given what we did to the Russians when they first invaded Ukraine. Like, we did things that you would not believe in terms of, and it got lots of Russian boys killed who didn't even get a chance to fight. And look, war is war, but we didn't take the gloves off, but that was about as close to taking the gloves off as we could. The Russians, if they did the same thing and took out an aircraft carrier and killed 25,000 U.S. sailors, that would be a seriously traumatic event for the United States. And that's one of the risks that we're gonna deal with in this. So let's see. I think Russia and China will join Iran and use Iran as a proxy. You are 100% correct. That is 100% correct, because it gives them a chance to get back at us. Well, not necessarily China, but Russia. Absolutely. Yeah, Russia. I think Putin has been far more sane than we would have been if he had done the same thing. How do we even know they have a nuclear program? Well, because they have a nuclear reactor at Bashir where they're enriching uranium. Like we definitely know. I mean, it's the IAEA is constantly monitoring that stuff. So, you think we might break out some black budget tech? Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Yeah, so what you're going to have is this bombing campaign, and it's just going to run out of steam. The Iranians have a massive supply of ballistic missiles, and they're just going to lash out at targets everywhere. So they'll lash out at Tel Aviv. They'll lash out at Saudi oil infrastructure. They'll close the Strait of Hormuz, mine it, do all sorts of nasty things. And it's a chance to escalate. What if the Iranians sink an aircraft carrier and kill 25 U.S. sailors? 25,000 U.S. sailors. What's our next move? What are we going to do there? Are we just going to let it happen? You see how this escalates very quickly into another land war in Asia? Like, whoever is behind this on our government side, like we're a far cry away from like my mentor, who was Dr. Ashton Carter. Right? The guy was like a Rhodes Scholar, and the current U.S. Secretary of Defense is an alcoholic. Like, it's just a Jim Bro and alcoholic. But yeah, we didn't hit their nuclear sites. We hit like one of them. They have hundreds of them. Okay. Yep. Intel is always wrong. That's right. I mean, there'll be stuff that's right, but okay. A U.S. Navy aircraft carrier typically hosts between 5,000 and 6 when fully deployed. But yeah, I forget where I read that. I read it was like 25,000. Maybe it's the entire carrier group. But even if you sank a carrier and killed 5,000 sailors a day, that would still be almost as much as we lost in the entire Iraq and Afghan wars combined. Yep, all actors. What happens if Iran hits Saudi oil fields? Will not that be? Yeah, it'd absolutely be good for Russia because Russia can sell their oil at a much elevated rate. Yep, king of the hill and a mountain of mud. All right, some of the UFO files are coming in fun. Hey, by the way, where did I get kerped or derped? Tell me. I still don't know the answer to that. But we're like way over tonight, guys. We're way over. I hope that was useful. I hope that was entertaining. This is the second week in a row where I just used no AI. Oh, fading in and out. Well, I'm probably moving back and forth. But anyway, good night. God bless. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and thank you for tuning in, everyone.
She's dancing in the field, and the sun is in her eyes. Thousands are one in her eyes. So she stumbles through the field. She can't see, though she tries. Should've worn her pennant. Now she stumbles. Now she cries. Her skin's red and it burns, and the fields go on for miles. Life sucks you dry. She wonders why. Wonders why. sun is in her eyes. Thousands are one in her eyes. So she stumbles through the fields. She can't see, though she tries. Should've worn her pennant. Now she stumbles. Now she cries. Her skin's red and it burns, and the fields go on for miles. Life sucks you dry. She wonders why.